Yeah, I mean, for me, the single element that prevents Splinterlands from growing exponentially, it's the Hive being on the Hive engine. So
You mean it from
I
visibility, not technical?
no, it's just a pain in the butt.
It's not a popular chain, right? So people are
Well,
used to
no,
ETH. And
I think it's a usability of Hive. So like I think the point of inflection where Splinterlands the game will grow exponentially. It's the moment. It's the day where me as a player will never ever know about Hive or see Hive
Now,
or have to
48, to
deal with
that
Hive.
point, and not to interrupt directly, but I will interrupt with this. Do you hear from Yaba what I'm hearing, that SPS nodes and validators is essentially a layer two he's creating to create an environment exactly like you're talking about?
Yep. So that this is what made Axie grow, right? It's the Ronin network. Once
Which
they
a
created,
lot of people yelled about. They hate it.
yes, yep, and the same thing with Axie. The people didn't understand the value that the Ronin network would bring. So the uniqueness, and Axie is the only game in town that has a layer two right now that's fully built out. From that standpoint, and you can talk about it got hacked, it lost 600 million. All the component it brought in gave Google $60 million or what have you, to kind of put their authenticator on it and things like that. But the bottom line is that the moment that the validator node gets kicked off, run appropriately on Splinterlands, and the moment that we never have to even hear the word Hive or see it or navigate, it's the moment that Splinterlands will grow exponentially.
Yeah, I think so. I think to that point, I see the layer two that Yaba's creating with the nodes as step one. Step
And it doesn't
two,
even matter the quality of the game that
no, it
Splinterlands
doesn't.
has.
It doesn't, because you're right. It's the access to it, right? Is if there's even a modicum of interest during a bull run or a crypto bull run, it doesn't matter the quality. It could be pixels like it's funny. Ryu in chat, he does a Waxel game on Wax, and it's a pixelated game,
Yep.
and the graphics don't matter. I mean, people will go to crypto games regardless of the interface if they see something of interest, and the on ramp is easy enough. So
Yeah,
that's the point.
Yeah, it's shocking to me that people don't want to allow validators to be sold for DEC. That they still want SPS, and they don't really understand that the underlying structure, that single element that prevents Splinterlands from growing exponential, is because they don't have the validator node up and running like the Ronin network on Axie. And if you talk to anyone that plays Axie, Ronin network distinguishes it bar none from Gala, from Immutable, from any other product out there. It's a uniqueness of it.
Immutable was the attempt at a layer two. It just doesn't feel like they got it right.
It went bankrupt. They
okay.
it.
I didn't know really what it was. I have a wallet over there, but haven't paid attention.
I didn't know that they went bankrupt either.
Oh nice. Yeah. This is originally they had to shut it. This is why God's Unchained, and everything got rebuilt. Yeah.
Okay.
The history of Immutable. Yeah.
That's interesting. I would say that part of the reason that it went parabolic or exponential in 2021 was the fact that they were able to bridge to the Binance Smart Chain, because the Binance Smart Chain was getting so much activity. I had just explored it in the first half of 2021, and I probably would not have gotten into Splinterlands, discovered Hive, cared about Hive at all, had I not been able to buy SPS and DEC on Binance or on BSC at the time, which is BNB. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that I disagree with you about creating like their own chain where they have where they're able to control it, but I'm just trying to better understand why you say when Hive isn't even mentioned, it'll be easier. Can you just break that down?
Yeah, like for instance, one of the most difficult things for us to acquire in the game is SPS. Let's say I want to buy $250,000, or let's say hypothetically I talk someone into spending $1 million to get SPS. How do I do that?
Mm-hmm. No, I'll tell you right now. So Neil and I run Venari Syndicate. We had to move a lot of fiat capital into the game, and there was a time when I was trying to catch the nodes on the sellout day. I had to private message to Yab and be like, "Your bridge broke," because we tried to send 50,000 US into the game and it got stuck. That would never
happen.
Yeah, on
Oh,
Terra
wow.
got stuck. It wasn't released for 6 days.
Oh, gosh.
$50,000 in Ethereum is nothing. It's nothing.
Yep. And if you were to move Ethereum, ETH to Hive, there's no market for you to trade it.
Oh, the liquidity pool slippage we
Yep.
had to bear to move quickly
Yep.
was huge. Like seeing some of the chat of, oh my gosh, I lost 0.5% in trying to move $100 into the game. I'm like, wait till you try to move 10 grand.
Yeah.
Then
Yep.
tell me about the slippage. But to be in a good position to take advantage of a market situation, I'll take the hit. It's just painful. There are a lot of investors with a lot deeper pockets. Like we've been courting. Like we have access to other crypto, I would say Uber whales out there. They have no interest in coming in here right now. It's
So
hard.
but that's okay. So that's a question that I've been thinking about just privately. And Foye, you and I have talked about this as well, because you think that the team should be providing the liquidity into the pools
And the DAO, yeah.
or the DAO.
Yeah.
Because I've run into that issue too, where I mean, even now, I was just trying to figure out like, okay, well, I have, if I have some assets on Ethereum that I want to transfer in, I'm just looking at Sushi Swap, for example, and like to convert from ETH to SPS, like even just like $1,000 is going to be a significant hit, and I'm just like, oh, this is the gas fees plus that, like it.
Yeah,
it
so the price of SPS isn't realistic because
you can't exit out of the position if you wanted to.
Yeah, and that's the biggest
position.
thing. Like people comment to me, they laugh when I start talking about SPS to them. They're like, yeah, okay, don't talk to me about that. There's nothing I can do.
So what? How do we solve this problem then? If you guys were in the decision making seat for a day,
Validator node.
Validator node is step 1, and step 2 that I don't know how to fix, but I know needs to happen, is I need a closer exchange place than Hive Engine. And
that's the thing. The validator node is the exchange. It's like the Ronin network.
That's the technology piece that I just don't have visibility on. That might solve the problem because
that's what the Ronin network is.
It's
the most decentralized gaming.
Exactly, because Flutterlands as a company is US based. They can't have an exchange that's built into their UI. That would draw SEC attention in a minute. So once validators are up and going and it's decentralized and no longer has a board or a CEO to crucify, then the SEC can't bother with it. So once that's set up, I just don't know how they're going to do it. But to Foyer's point, it can be done at that point. That's when the exchange and the true depth of liquidity,
and that's when you see like SPS go from 3 cents to $10 overnight.
And the node validator owners are going to be very happy.
Yep, and that's why it's short-sightedness. They will not sell it for DEC. You're arguing over pennies.
Yeah, it's really pennies to say.
No one will buy the validator node with SPS. It's like shooting yourself in the foot. I shouldn't say that. One person did pick up a valid, but
more people have since it reached that.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to plead ignorance here and ask the stupid questions.
I think one picked up 4
because I don't know. I don't know how the Ronin network works. So where is the on ramp for Ronin? Can you how do you convert fiat?
There's a bridge. So it's like Polygon. Polygon has a bridge. It's the same thing. It is the bridge.
Okay. Okay. I guess because I can understand us being on a major exchange, that would make things a lot easier and better. But I guess I just need to do a little bit more research. It's a terrible
idea to put us on more exchanges and things like that.
I agree.
I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying that I can understand that being a good on ramp. But I need to do a little bit more research on Ronin because I just don't even know how you would buy.
Well, it's like Coinbase, right? Coinbase, you can now establish a bridge so you can send money from Coinbase to Polygon. You no longer have to pay the ETH fee to go to MetaMask on the Ethereum side.
True. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same thing. Yep. So you'll see like the evolutionary curve for wallets. Right now, you have one MetaMask wallet that has the same address, and you service a bunch of different exchanges, right? Binance, Polygon, Ethereum, Mainnet. You service, and it'll continue to add to this. And this is what Brave Browser, Brave Wallet's trying to do, right? But they're just taking their sweet time with it. But the essence is. And it's the same thing with the new Ledger Nano wallet, right? With the new guy from the iPod guy. And really what the intention that they wanted to really do is just merge all this where the wallet itself has the algorithm, the intellectual piece, the AI, to function and navigate all this. So there's zero cost for you to transfer. Like you can have a single wallet. It's just like going to Costco, Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, whatever. You can spend money off of that single wallet without incurring any transaction costs. So this is the kind of the future of what wallet is, and Hive will never service that. And Hive will just be kind of left in the background, because the Hive, they don't have a marketing team. They don't have it. And, Leo Finance is trying to do some stuff to it. And some of the threads and kind of component to kind of market put Hive out there. But then you still don't solve this greater need for to be able to buy things that just frictionless.
Okay. So
without the validator node.
So with the validator nodes, you would be able to go and just buy.
Oh yeah, it's all on the exchange. Yeah, you have card market, non-card market. Everything will be moved off, but it'll all be there.
But okay,
so it's a
lift. I think I just need to research Ronin.
Yeah, it's a huge database lift. It's it's demarcation, separation of the database, how you stack it, and you can also use various different database.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
that's where it's going to be when Yaba announced that, or it was in the post, that vouchers, I guess it was Cryptomancer in Town Hall, that vouchers need to be, after this maintenance, moved out of game onto chain. That action is moving on to what will be the new layer 2 that'll be on the validator node.
Yep.
And so then it's just a question from a long-term perspective. The validator nodes will be managing the transactions. So all that the regulators and SEC can come to is Splinterlands as a U.S. company able to interface with it, right? The same way they try to block exchanges and other things from even operating in different states.
Yep.
They could try that. At that point, then Splinterlands has a question, has something to figure out. But even at that point, there are plenty of other options of third-party sites, or even how what's that banner, Baron's Toolbox? Right on there. Those can be the exchange, right? You download an add-on, and boom, there you go. So there's always going to be ways around it. Those who say, I want this token to be on an exchange, is a similar type of comment as those who say, oh, I want free to play available like Web 2. That's all sticking with today or backwards. The way forward with Web 3 is the true decentralization among decentralized nodes. So Bitcoin Maxi should be all over this.
I'm slagging right now. I'm failing to understand the
Bitcoin is slow to evolve.
Those fighting words.
Shots fired.
You'll see over the next 20, 30 years.
I think my issue is I'm failing to understand the actual technical aspects of how this is set up. So I just needed a little more research. But if I'm understanding correctly, for example, Splinterlands, as like their servers, their game, in a way exists as a layer 2 on top of the Hive chain, right? As does Hive Engine.
And it's also on the AWS.
It's on AWS, but I'm just saying it exists as like a layer 2 on Hive Engine because it can interface with Hive Engine. So what we're trying to do with the SPS validators, right, which for fun we'll call like the SPS chain, is to have that layer 2 on top of Hive that Splinterlands can then interface with just the way that it does with Hive Engine, for example.
Sure, if you need resource credit and things, that's the second piece. Is like the resource credit is a killer. It's the way the Hive. It's great that there's zero transaction, but I'd rather pay the small transaction fee on the Ronin network than I pay zero on the Hive and stake it, because at the end of the day, the high power is just. It's a great idea and it's a great concept, but you need some middle layer product like the validator node to kind of take over that piece of it.
I'm all for old school parking meters as well. I can use a quarter and boom, I've got it. Instead of pulling out an app and taking a picture and everything else to figure out where I'm going to park. It's like the staking of Hive. I have to go to a separate thing to stake an FRC or beg for it, so I'm going to delegate it. And that's outside of my transaction. Now, to that point, though, I think something that's unknown is what Yaba's full vision is of this. At one point, as he was going through one of his just mind dumps of what he's been working on, it gave me the feeling like he was replacing Hive. I don't know.
I mean, you can be what it's kind of like what the Rona network is. You can survive anywhere. You can be on Polygon, you can be on Solana, you can be anywhere you want. You just basically light a switch and bridge to it. So essentially, but you still have to be dependent on the Hive engine for certain things, but it doesn't have to involve the user. The user doesn't have to know.
I think it makes sense that Yaba would have that flexibility in mind, given what they've been through, right?
Mm-hmm.
So given the Justin Sun debacle, they knew how to get out of it in that state. But that came with a lot of baggage. And anybody that went through it or has read about it, there's a lot of bad blood with how certain tokens were withheld from certain accounts based on suspicion. And that's completely against decentralization. How a whole country was locked out. I mean, the Koreans thing. I mean, there was a lot of bad blood about that. And so the run from Justin Sun and the survivability of Splinterlands was because Splinterlands was still good with the Steam now became Hive witnesses that went along with it. Because yes, Splinterlands people are a lot of the top witnesses, but not all. I don't think they're a majority. And there's a lot of OG Hive people that are in control of that chain. So wisely, Yaba and Aggie should be figuring out a way that if Hive goes away from what would benefit Splinterland's economy, or at least let Splinterlands do its thing, they need to be able to move it to another chain.
And that's essentially just creating a layer 2 that is its own thing that you can essentially move somewhere else and plug and play.
Yeah. Okay. And so instead of resource credits on Hive, it can utilize gas fees on ETH.
You just cross-chain it.
Transaction. Exactly. Cross-chain it. And then you might interface with the blockchain in bulk versus, every transaction. So 100 transactions are done on the SPS layer 2, and then it's bulk written to the ETH chain 1 out of 100, right? Something like that. That's a primitive version of...
Yeah, you can use different roll-ups and things like that.
Yeah, it's a roll-up. Yeah, but it could be different. There's a lot more things since roll-ups. Roll-ups is like 2017 technology.